Hello, everybody. Welcome to this live webinar. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. I'm Michela Fassi, Communication Manager at Milestone, and I'll be your moderator for this webinar today. The topic of this webinar is grossing station. This webinar will serve as a practical guide for you to choose your next one. Before diving into the topic, I just would like to remind you the basic functions of the Zoom platform through which we are broadcasting. The meeting controls are at the bottom of your screen. They hide if you don't use them, and they reappear if you move your mouse on them. Your microphone will be muted for the entire webinar. We encourage this webinar to be interactive, so we encourage you to ask questions. There will be a live Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so feel free to type your questions anytime during the webinar, and we will answer as many questions as possible at the end of the presentation. If you experience any problem, you can chat with me. You have the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. We are experiencing some very bad weather here in Italy, so I hope that connection will be stable. In any case, if you miss any part of the webinar, don't worry, because we will send everybody the registration link tomorrow with the full webcast. So let's have a look at today's speaker. The speaker today is Andrea Di Croce, application specialist in Milestone since many years now. I believe that Andrea is ready in our laboratory, so I will switch off my presentation and I give the floor to Andrea. So Andrea, let's see if you're there, if you're ready. Yes, you are. So we give Andrea just a few seconds to share the PowerPoint, and Andrea, you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Michela. I am Andrea Di Croce, Milestone Application Specialist. And today I'm here to tell you about how to correctly choose your workstation, your grossing station. In particular, I want to drive you through all the jungle that we have, as you can see in the image, between all those grossing stations. So what should drive the decision? How you can choose your correct grossing station? Well, we identified few criteria. Those 5 you see, in order to correctly choose the perfect grossing station. So, of course, first point is the safety, because it's mandatory for operator to work safely under the grossing station, handling dangerous specimen with a high risk of chemical hazard and high risk of biological hazard, because we have to remember that we deal with biologics, so sample that come from human, that can be, of course, affected. Then modularity is extremely important, because the workstation, the grossing station, should fit the laboratory needs. Then later we will expand all those points. Then documentation is extremely important, because of course is a proof of evidence, and also allow to print report, and also for the diagnosis for the patient is extremely important. Then some nice to have is, of course, the ergonomy. So people that work at the grossing station must be at ease using the grossing station. They must feel confident using them. And then, last but not the least, there's the compliance to several norms regarding the construction, the retainment, and also the ergonomy. But later we will discuss about all of them. So let's start with the first one, with the safety. Safety, as I told you, is the most important. We must know that we deal with chemical and biological risk. So we made a sorry, in the market, there are several grossing stations, several cabinets that are compliant to chemical and biological norms. In particular, biological norms are more restrictive, the biological cabinets are much more safer than the chemical, and they are divided into 3 classes: class 1, class 2, and class 3. Class 1 preserve the operator from the specimen, for example, for toxic fumes coming from the specimen. Class 2 preserve both the specimen from the operator and the operator from the specimen. And the third class, basically the same, but there's a physical barrier in between them. So you probably notice a closed, total enclosed system with gloves built in, so in order to manipulate the sample inside the hood. Then there are several norms which must be compliant, as I told you, regarding how they are constructed and then how they are, how is the retainment. Then now I want to show you just a brief state of art, so how laboratory works all around the world. So you can see the first image is not a table, is not a suction table, it's just a simple table with a grossing cutting board over the top. No ventilation, so operators are fully exposed to toxic fumes. Then the second image is a suction table. So this is slightly more efficient than not ventilation of the previous image. But of course, is an open system. So operator that works on the working area of this suction table is slightly exposed to the fumes that comes from the formalin. Then the last 2 images that you see are a chemical cabinet and then a biological cabinet. Both are enclosed system, as you see. So there is a higher level of safety for operator, but as you can see, you can appreciate the sash in front of the face of the operator. And this is safer, of course, but on the other side, there's a problem because the ergonomy is less than the suction table and the vented table. Then, talking about modularity, the second bullet point, which is extremely important and you have to take into account when you choose your grossing station, is that the grossing station must fit the work slab routine. Why? Because imagine to have small biopsy, there's no need with a small biopsy of a big cutting board. On the other side, if you have to gross surgical specimen, histological specimen that usually are much bigger than a small biopsy, there's the need of a big cutting board. So grossing table should be versatile. Nice to have should be a removable cutting board that can fit all the needs. Then operator should be comfortable, of course, during the grossing activities. And then you have to consider this. Consider all the preferences. So what's the intended design for the grossing station that you're going to buy. Then, this is just one image to show you how will be the setup, how is the setup now, sorry. As you see, there's a tray, there are buckets, so trays for buckets, there's a formalin Tupperware, no ventilation, a cutting board, standard cutting board, a monitor for an LIS system, and in the nearby, you see a notebook, probably for the documentation that is definitely not standardized. Then, talking about documentation, we know that is fundamental for the diagnosis. It should be an objective assessment. And this should lead an enhanced report that must be extremely important for the patient, because of course to assess the presence or the absence of lesion of a tumor, there should be an objective assessment. Then is extremely important also for the laboratory, because it's a proof of evidence that some sample pass through that grossing station in order to, first of all, as I told you, proof of evidence, and then to avoid mismatch between cassette and between samples. And moreover, it's extremely important for identify possible mistakes. Then those images are to show you how is the documentation nowadays. So as you can see, the first image is operator, which is taking picture of biopsies, not standardized and not comfortable solution. The second two images probably doesn't need an explication, but as you can see, there is a pathologist that is balancing somehow, taking picture, managing to take in picture. And first of all, this is not safe for him because it can fail, and then it's not safe for the sample because it can hurt the table and then make them fail, lose, and also, again, is not standardized picture or video. Moreover, the last image show an operator taking picture in a not so nice position, because that operator, of course, won't feel at ease taking this picture. Also, again, it's dangerous for the sample and also for him. So ergonomy from these images, documentation is mandatory, first of all, but also ergonomy is extremely important. Why? Because operator should be, as I told you earlier, should be at ease using the grossing station. There are some postural needs which must be required. Operator should be at ease deciding if they want to work standing or sitting, and if they have to work a lot for 4, 5, 6 hours, is important that they can decide their own position. Then we're talking about the working area should be easily reachable from everyone. There should be an easiness of use, and also there should be a nice to have feature, which is the possibility to move the grossing station all around the laboratory. Why? Because there are several issues for cleaning. For example, the rear part of the grossing station should be clean. We know that pathology labs usually are not so clean because of formalin, because of blood, because of sample, because of ink, all of those stuff that can ruin the laboratory. So having a working station movable is always a nice to have. Also for example, renewal issues, so changing the disposition of the laboratory. Then there are also several norms which involve the health and the safety of the operator. So, as I told you, there are several norms regarding safety, construction, and also the postural needs from the operator. So, how Milestone address those needs? Well, let me show you. Behind me, we do have a class 1 cabinet, but compliant to some microbiological safety norms. In particular, we are compliant to several paragraphs of several norms, that you see on the screen. So the UNI-EN 14175 that regulate the phase velocity, the outer containment, and the robustness of containment of the system. Then we are compliant to the Annex C of the UNI-EN 12469, which regulate the retention and efficiency of the frontal aperture. What does this mean? that even if there is open frontal aperture and also holes in the glass, nothing comes out, and we are certificate. Then we are compliant to some construction requirement, in particular the UNIN 13150, that is the safety and the durability requirements. But what does this mean? Well, in detail, we do have an innovative airflow thanks to horizontal glass, this one, and then airfoils. This allows a strong downdraft and backdraft. That means that all the fumes that comes from the sample are collected in the back and then in the part, passing through the filter in the rear part of the device. So keeping operator safe from the fumes and far from the fume. As you see in the image, we usually perform a smoke test that visual shows that all the fumes are collected in the rear part, so no exposure for the operators. Then we do have enhanced protections thanks to this glass shield that is anti-splash and also, as you see, extremely clear. And this allows operator to be closer to the specimen. They can see what they do in a correct way. And also, they can be really, really near the specimen in a total safety because of the aspiration and because of the physical barrier between the operator and then the specimen. Then we do have formalin handling. Why? Because, of course, in a pathology is based on the formalin-fixed tissue. So we have to manage, and you have to manage the formalin. So we do have dedicated funnels which drains formalin directly inside the tanks. And this is extremely important because you don't need to come out from the grossing station in order to pour exhaust formalin somewhere, but directly under the fume hood. And we do have more because we designed a tap. Now you see here and there are two taps. There are two taps which allows the dispensation of fresh formalin. So no need to come out to manually pour. There is just a foot pedal that you see there, which allows the dispensation of fresh formalin directly under the fume hood. Then let me spend a few words talking about the decontamination system. Well, let me zoom in a little bit better. Okay, you see there, this is ViroClean. This is an option that allows decontaminate and clean all the grossing station. How? It spread a dry fog all around, all over the surfaces which are positive and negative. By the way, this system works with Supraspor, which is a reagent, a peroxide-based reagent containing surfactants. This allows operator to decontaminate and also cleaning the surfaces. I told you positive and negative surfaces. Why? Because, let me show you, we do have some modules. So this is just a perforated shelf for holding the buckets. So we do have a positive surface and then a negative surface that, of course, must be clean too. So Supraspor plus ViroClean should be a powerful tool to find decontaminated and cleaning all the grossing station. Then is extremely fast because it takes just a few seconds. Then I show you that we do have module. We do have module because we have a big basin all underneath the working surface. So under those modules, under this working area, there's a big basin which allows operator, for example, to clean big specimen. Then we guarantee the fully customization of all the working area. Let me show you how. You see in the picture the big basin. And then let's see, we do have the possibility to follow the routine of the laboratory. Let me show you how. This disposition is the same that I have in the rear part behind me. So how does it work? We do have a bucket which is positioned on the tray at the arrival. Then formalin contained inside the bucket is drained inside the dedicated funnel. Then the sample is taken, washed in case of, for example, for colon, dirt colon must be cleaned, of course, because before the grossing activities, and then position on the cutting board for starting the grossing activities. So as you can see, we do have a flow that goes from the left to the right. But also we can do the opposite because we work with modules. So we can also change the disposition of those modules and then do the opposite. Or another disposition, because we give the possibility to the operator to fully customize according to the needs of the laboratory and also the personal needs. Last but not the least, we do have an extended cutting board. Why? Because, for example, for big specimen, which require a lot of space, there's the need to a big cutting board. So in that case, we do have a two cutting board, position one beside the other, and then put together in order to have all the space of that the operator needs. Then just a point, I just remind you the image that you have seen earlier. So you remember we did have a cutting board on the table, so operator, there's a lot of difference in that way. Anyway, you see on the camera, on the screen, sorry, that we have a camera. Also behind me, we have two cameras. Why? Because we decided to build in our documentation system, which is MacroPath. MacroPath is a powerful tool for documentation. So we do have the system is composed by a camera, high quality with high spec, 20 megapixel, 65 per optical zoom, which is a lot, which allows to take high quality images and 4K video that are extremely high quality. Then high spec PC, which runs smart software, and we will discuss later, and also the foot pedal for controlling the commands without using the hand. That, of course, during the grossing activities are dirt in blood, formalin, or ink. But we did not stop here. Why? Because we had the possibility to track, to document not only the grossing activity, but also in an automatic way, the cassette with the C-scan, which is an option. And also, Lux, that is mentioned there, is our system, unique system for controlling the MacroPath with the use of the eyes, so definitely not touching the PC. But let me spend a few words more about the smart software that we have, because it's possible to edit the image directly on the screen. So imagine that once you have taken the picture, you directly type or take note or perform the editing directly on the screen. So a nice improvement compared to the notebook of a few pictures earlier. Then it's possible, again, to edit, but also the edited images can be integrated in a report. So directly print report from the PC. Last, again, but not the least, the LIS integration, which nowadays it's mandatory. Why LIS integration? Because MacroPath system is fully integrable with all LIS system existing. Then, talking about ergonomy. Well, as I told you, operator must be at ease using our grossing station. In particular, we do have the possibility to regulate the height. As I show you, we are regulating the height according to the need of the operator. So different people has different heights, so they can regulate the height of the working area. Moreover, they can decide if working standing or sitting with, of course, the use of a chair. So we do have the possibility to easy access to the command, easy access to all the part of the working area. And moreover, in this screen, there's the possibility to control all the parts of the working of the grossing station. In particular, we can regulate the height, we can turn on and off the LED light inside the working area. We can turn on and off the aspiration, and also we can regulate the strength of aspiration, expired filter, and all the information regarding the grossing station. Moreover, we do have the possibility to turn on and off the aspiration in automatic way, because there is a sensor, as I show you here. There is a sensor, which is the presence sensor, which allow operator not to touch the terminal. By the way, this is IP68, so can be touched with dirt hands without any problem. But of course, should be much more, the level of ergonomy increase if you can arrive and then the grossing station starts by itself. Then this is a plug and play unit. Why? Because there are just two requirements: connect to the ventilation system of the laboratory and then plug the cable inside the power supply, and everything is done. Moreover, as you can see, here is on wheels, so you can easily move all across the laboratory without any problem. Moreover, we are compliant to two particular norms, the ISO 14738 and the ISO 5349, which regulate the anthropometric requirement for the design of workstation at machinery and mechanical vibration measurement and evaluation of human exposure and transmit. What does this mean? In few words, that operators are comfortable using our grossing station because there's no vibration transmit from our grossing station, and then they are feel at ease using all the working area and easily reach all the parts of our working area and then working station. But we did not stop here. Why? Because thanks to the enhanced modularity, there are a lot of saving in terms of space, first of all, because as I told you, we do have module. There's the possibility to position two cutting board to allow operator to work together at the same time under the same hood. And this is extremely important because there's no need to have the space occupied by two grossing stations, just one for two operators. Again, this leads to a cost saving because there's no need to purchase two grossing stations, so no need to pay for two grossing stations, but just for one. Then what we do have, we decided to design several modules in order to fit the laboratory routine. In particular, we do remember what I said earlier, so no need need of a big cutting board for small specimen, we do have the possibility to choose between bigger cutting board, as this one that you see behind me, and also smaller cutting board. Also, we have a perforated shelf. We have the smaller one that I showed you earlier, and also the bigger one that is right here. Also, we have the possibility to have a cutting board with a funnel integrated to drain exhaust formalin. We do have several sinks with perforated shelf over the top. So we give the possibility to fully customize the working area. But not only the working area, but also the grossing station itself, because this one that you see behind me is 180 centimeters long. That is for double operator. But we do also have the 150 centimeters long, which is for single operator. Moreover, there is the possibility to mount monitors over the top here. So there's a bar in which you can mount screen for cassette printer or screen for slide printer or monitor for your own LIS system. So fully customization. Also, it's possible to have active or passive model. That means active has motors built in, while passive use the ventilation of the laboratory. Again, as I told you, we do have modules, but not only modules. We also have options, which are, for example, the one that I mentioned earlier, the ViroClean, that is an option. Also, we have this particular vented bin in order for the disposal of gloves or exhaust tools or dirt tools. Then we do have the grinder for the leftover, and more yet to come. Then we do have the possibility, we give the possibility to start from a preset model that you see on the screen, which brings the name of famous pathology, Malpighi, Golgi, Rosai, and Virkov. So operator can directly choose and decide to add or remove modules, options, screens, or whatever they need. So in order to summarize what Milestone have, talking about safety, we have the compliance to several norms regarding chemical and biological regulation. We do have the possibility to add module to customize the working area. We do have the possibility to mount cameras and also to have a digital system for acquiring image and video, the MacroPath system, also the C-scan for the cassette, and also the Lux for using MacroPath with the eyes. Then we do have an enhanced ergonomy, because as I told you, we do have the possibility to raise the working area according to the height of the people, the operator, and then easy access to command, and again, plug and play unit and its on wheels. So again, can be easily moved. Finally, we do have several norms. We are compliant to several norms, which I mentioned earlier. So I hope that my presentation is enlightening you a little bit, and it's useful for your next grossing station. So my presentation is finished, and now I'm available for all your questions. And if, in case, due to the time, lack of time, in case I can't answer all your questions, I will take care of them, and then I will send email to all answering all your questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much for your presentation. Actually, I have received already some questions, so let's start with them. And of course, in the meantime, all the attendees are free and encouraged to type any other question possible. Also, Andrea, if you want to take off your presentation shared, correct? So our attendee will have the full screen with the ultra gross. Okay. So first question for you. You mentioned the big basin. Can you show, please? Because this attendee actually says that he usually needs to work with big samples, so the big basin should be optimal.
Definitely, definitely. I can show it. Probably you don't see pretty well, but I try to show you the real dimension of our big basin. So just for instance, for you to know, this is 150 centimeter long. That means that this module is 50 centimeter, and also we do have two modules, 25 centimeter each. So just for you, a meter, for you to understand that is a meter and a half. And then I try to show you better show and see the dimension of those modules. So this is a big sink. And then finally, look at the size of my arms that goes inside. So the basin is really, really, really big and wide. So it fits also, for example, an entire leg or an entire arm without any problem. The dimension are really, really big. And also for cleaning, for example, dirt column, that is the most probably big and dirt specimen that can arrive in a pathology lab, there is a shower. So we do have a shower, and with this shower can reach all the part of the working area. So the dimensions are really, really, really big.
Okay, let's continue with another question about documentation. You mentioned that you can edit the pictures. How is it possible?
Well, with our last version, we improved a lot the possibility to edit images directly on the screen. So how does it work? In this, in the left part, we do have the editing tool, and now I'm performing, for example, a sizing of the area. So now just choosing the correct tool, and then I'm just drawing on the screen, and I have the area in square millimeter, sorry. Then we also do have the possibility to perform sizing, directly size on the screen, and also a lot of other editing tool. For example, it's possible to add the ruler or add the grid, or add, for example, divide into quadrant. For example, for instance, we do have the possibility to divide into quadrant this part. So there's a lot of possibility of customization and editing. Moreover, we give the possibility also to type note directly on image. And once it's saved, this image is duplicated. That means the original one, so without editing, is maintained in order not to ruin that particular image. So we will have two pictures, one clean and the other edited.
Okay. Let's move on again. Another question is the following. You mentioned about fast cleaning system. Can you tell us how much time do you need for the cleaning system?
Yes, just a few seconds, because it's really, really fast. This particular tool nebulize a dry fog inside the working area and takes up to 30 seconds. So it's really, really fast, and also is settable. So you can program and decide when start this cycle. So for example, at the end of the work shift, it's possible to automatically perform a cleaning of the working area in a total automation.
Okay, let's move to another one. Is it possible to remove or move the glass shield?
Yes, it's possible. It's possible just to retract up to now. So you can see now I'm pushing the glass, and then what I get? An alarm. Why? Because this grossing station is extremely safe. When there are variation of the flow of the airflow inside the working area, operator is alerted. So has to keep in mind that the flow, it could be exposed to the fumes of the sample coming from the sample. So that's why we put an alarm. Anyway, coming back to your question, yeah, the shield, the glass shield is movable back and forth, and then you get the notification, as you can hear.
Okay, now we have a question which comes probably from someone who knows already our stations, because the question is, does the ultragross have a presence sensor?
Yeah, definitely. As I told you earlier, there's a presence sensor here. This particular dot, black dot that you see here, recognize the presence of operator. So once it's turned on and operator position himself in front of the grossing station, it starts in automatic way. So perform a check that everything is working well, and then start the ventilation. So operator, there's no need for operator to touch with dirt hand, probably, the console on the top, the screen on the top. By the way, this is touch and also IP68, so can easily clean with water and also how to say, peroxide-based reagent like our Supraspore.
Perfect. I have one final question divided in two parts. So the first part is this one. Is it possible to work side by side with a lab technician? We have a pathologist who does the dissectioning and the lab technician who makes the marking.
Yes, it's possible. Of course, as I previously mentioned, we have the possibility to have the double operator setting. So two cutting board, one beside the other. In this particular case, there shouldn't be the need of two cutting board. Anyway, two operators can stay together at the same time under the same fume hood, but we have particular tools, particular modules, which are locked in this part, in this foil, which allows the positioning of, for example, a pad, a notebook, or something to take points, so paper, so you can type easily. Moreover, if you want to stay on the grossing, on the working area, is it possible to position trays? So perforated shelf, for example, or a sink with an enclosure over the top, so they can position themselves without any problem and then hold all the stuff they need.
Thank you. The second part of the question, which was very long, is this one. Is there a possibility to get a live feed of the camera on the screen so that a pathologist working in another office can see and work as well?
Of course, it is possible because those screens, those PCs are Windows based. So it's possible, like with a common team viewer, is it possible to see what is happening on this screen and the documentation live and the grossing activities which are going to be done under this film hood, under this grossing station. And there are several advantages using that. So it's possible, for example, for teaching purposes. For example, it's difficult to stay, if you have a big classroom, 20 people, it's difficult to manage all of them in a laboratory, which notoriously is a small laboratory, and there is a lack of space. So this is a powerful tool also for teaching, also for a second opinion. Yeah, definitely it's possible.
Okay, thank you again, Andrea. There are no questions left, so I think that we can close this webinar session. Of course, if you have any other question, if you want to receive any material from us, of course, you're free to contact us, and here you can see our contacts. Also, feel free to contact our application specialist to schedule a virtual demonstration to discuss your specific need of the lab. And we will be happy to support you on that. Before closing, I just would like to remind you to follow us on our website and social channels to stay up to date with all Milestone news and events, also to see the next topic of our next educational webinars in the end of the year. And tomorrow you will receive an email message with the webcast recording. So thank you once again for watching and participating, and we hope to see you all next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.